here, we're going to get started. Good morning, everybody. It's taken us about 1,750 miles and 15 meetings, but here we are for our 16th final North Dakota Township Officer Handbook Update Workshop. I can really say we did save the best to last, and it really feels good to be here in front of everybody. I stood up here a lot of years as the Dallas County Township Officer Association President, and today I'm the state president. Dale Schmitz is my name. I just live right over here by Manfred. With us, we've got Tom Dutton, our District 5 Director, is here today. We have got Robin Weiss is with us here today. I believe we will have Jerry Klein and John Nelson coming in later. And we're going to get going here with Denise Brown from the North Dakota LTAP. Will be the first presentation.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Great to see a full room again. I have to compliment the group that's been going around. This is my fourth one that I've done, and every one of them has been a full house. So a lot of township officers are taking interest in what's happening around the state. So good to see you all here, and thank you for coming. Today we're going to talk about something a little bit different. Okay, it's usually LTAP, we're talking about roads and signs and that type of thing. But we were asked this time to speak about bringing about change. Now, if you think about that for a minute, does that happen with townships? Yeah, hopefully, right? We do want change in time. People retire, people move away, so you go through that change. How does that change affect you? You know, think about that, you know, even on a daily basis at home or at a job. How does that change? Or as a farmer, changes happen constantly, don't they? It's how we react to that change. So I'm going to give you a little bit of information about our program first. The map kind of covers it all because that's what we do is we go out all over North Dakota and we do our training programs. Our training programs consist of motor grader operator, gravel roads, signing, culverts, anything that you might think of in transportation and making the road safer for the public. So that's our mission, is to make sure everybody gets home safely. This is a picture of our group that's out there working on the road and doing training and doing budget work. And the first one is Brian Fuchs. He's our pretty new director since we came around to these meetings. So he came over from North Dakota DOT, from the local government. So he has a lot of good knowledge about you, about the counties. So he's been a great asset to our program. Tracy Wing, she just came about the same time as Brian, so we had a new staff to work with, and Tracy is our program assistant, but she works with our Road Scholar program, so when we're training, the county employees get credit for every training that they go to, and they're awarded for their work that they do in the training. So she takes care of that program. Myself, I've been with North Dakota LTAP for 18 years. Prior to that, I was actually with Sheridan County. I was the deputy auditor, so I've seen all those reports coming in from the townships. So it's great to see some Sheridan County people here that I know. Missed that job. It was great to work with the local people. And now it's kind of my goal after I left Sheridan County was to find a job that I worked with the locals, because I know how good the locals are, whether it's county, city, township, good people to work with. After a year and a half of being at the Capitol, I said enough of that, and I got on to LTAP, and I've been very happy to be there since. The Capitol just didn't quite work for my setting and in my lifestyle, so. And the other person we have on staff is Matt Johnson. He covers the 4 counties over in the west. What he does is talks with the counties and DOT, kind of collaborates with the two so that they can make good road decisions. He is an engineer and he lives up in Bottom. Kirk Basso, he's down in Dickinson. He works in that area. He used to be with the Forest Department for many years, so he knows his roads and trails well. And Kelly Bingston, he just came on with us part-time, and he's doing technical assistance kind of all in the eastern part of the state. But if you townships need any type of technical assistance, he would be great to tap into because he is an engineer. He came over from Minnesota. So he lives up in Hamm, but he travels all over. So keep him in mind for technical assistance. We do have a training, upcoming training. Take a look at our website. That's basically training that's changing every day. We're adding more on. The one that's in the works now is welding. And for you township people, any of this training is free. Chainsaw safety, you probably do some of the cutting down of trees in your township. That would be a good one to attend. So keep an eye on our website for our upcoming training. And like I said, it's free for you township people. The reason it's free is because we have a partnership with North Dakota Township Officers Association. They contribute to our program, and with that, we offer the trainings free. So it's a great contribution that we can work together with. So I'm going to get into the program of change, leading the charge for change. So we talk about change, it's with officers, executive directors, legal counsel, district directors, local and township officers. So lots of change that can happen on a very high level. We know how it works on the high level. We've kind of experienced all that, and having legislature last year, we're seeing the changes. And Larry will be talking about the township changes. So who decides how, why, how, and when the changes are going to happen? Who's going to make them happen? Are you the person that's going to make them happen? Have you made them in the past? Is it individual or personal changes? Government agency, like your township association, your organization, businesses, associations. So looking at this, how the dog thinks. When you think about change, do you think about it the same as your neighbor? Probably not. It's like the cat and dog up here on the cartoon. You just, difference in perspective. Perspective is a huge part of that. How you think about that change and how it's going to affect you later. So you wonder how things are going when you've been kind of doing the same thing all the time. This is a quote from Henry Ford. If you always do what you've done, you'll always get what you've always got. You guys agree with that? Absolutely. In your personal life and in the township area. Examples of why people have wanted change over time, they're just satisfied with the situation. They say, I don't like this, we're going to make a change. So I'm sure you've been in that situation in the past. You want improvements for growth. With the LTAP program, we're always looking to grow more. We outreach to our customers and say, hey, how can we make this better for you guys? What kind of training do you want? And sometimes there's unmet needs. Why are there unmet needs? Is it because we don't have the right people involved? Think about that. Usually someone's lagging when they should be running. External pressure, do we have that? Absolutely. Counties, cities, townships, the state, there's those external taxpayer pressures, right? Loss of trust or confidence, we get that a lot, don't we? We lose trust and confidence in the people who are supposed to be leaders. So we say there needs to be a change. So we vote, right? That's a way of making a change, by voting. We want something more stable and secure. And that's true with our personal life and with our business life and the Township Association. We want stability. Values or beliefs, we come upon that a lot with personal issues, with state issues, and local. Burnout or fatigue, anybody get that? Anybody tired of an organization that you've been in for 20 years? And it's like, I'm burned out, time to move on. Yep, that happens in small towns. I know coming from the small town area of McCluskey, if you're on one group, you're going to be on 10 of them, and you're going to be on for a minimum of 10 years, right? That's the way it works. There you go. And there's no maximum. It seems like there's never a maximum to being on there. Sometimes they just want a change from status quo. So what you've done forever, you want to keep doing it. What we do doesn't change. How we do it, it does. Agree? Yep, we make that change. How do we do it? We do it in a very reluctant way. It's going to come across as a reluctant change. So think about it right now. I guess Brian was thinking about, he kind of put this together and I helped him out, but he was thinking about Assoc or so. Do you use gas or electric? Probably got to make a change, right? Because one is better than the other. Or your tools, if they're corded or cordless. What works better? What kind of change do you need to make? However, how we change, how we approach change matters. Like I said, if we're reluctant and we're negative about it, it's not going to be a good change. Does whose idea make a big difference in the acceptance of the change? Absolutely. That's why we vote, right? We want the right people making the changes, whether it's on the state level, county, or township. The change should be immediate, and it is the great idea. So if it's your idea, right? You want it done right now, as soon as possible, get it done. If it's someone else's idea, now switch to gear, it's someone else's idea in the meeting, you think, why do we need that? And you start questioning. There isn't anything wrong with doing what we're doing is what's being said. Generally, people need more time, information, and convincing. And that's true. I find that with myself. If I have an idea and someone shoots it down, it's like, why? Give me a reason why you're shooting it down. What's happening? But I do like my ideas the best. I'm sure everybody here does. So, what about timing? Timing, we think that change should start ASAP, right? But it doesn't. And then we get frustrated. Then we need to stand up and lead and say, okay, why do we have this slowdown? What's happening? What's going on with this change? Change is hard. We know that. But that is the only constant in life. Agree? Nobody is apart from that. Everybody goes through change. Realize that most people don't like to be out of their comfort zone, right? I myself experienced that when I went to the state level, to the Capitol, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that setting, but there was for me. I was out of my comfort zone. I was used to being in a small courthouse, everybody saying, hey, good morning, how are you? How was your day? And then I went to the state and got on the elevator with people, and they didn't even say good morning. And I'm like, oh, this is awful. You know, and I experienced that so much that I made it a negative change. So think about being in your comfort zone. What happens in your comfort zone? You go through a process, so you feel safe and in control in that comfort zone. Then the change starts to happen and you go to your fear zone. What's going to happen if there's a change? We get kind of scared. And then we get into the learning zone. What can we learn about change? How is it going to affect the organization? What's going to be the asset to the organization? And then we grow. We grow with the idea. Once we realize it's a good idea, we go and we tell our neighbors, hey, our township is doing this. Why don't you try it? And there will be questions asked, and all of a sudden, it's in your comfort zone, isn't it? Because you've accepted that. Change is hard. It is not an easy decision, right? And Don from McKenzie County Highway Department gave a quote on that about change. So this is kind of a goofy graphic. I'm going to say Brian picked it out. So when I first looked at it, I'm like, what? Anyway, so I will talk you through it though. You start with your old status quo. And then you start resisting a little bit, right? You don't want to go there. And all of a sudden you start dropping and you get into the chaos area, right? All those ideas are coming at you and you don't want to leave your comfort zone. So it becomes a chaotic thing. Then you go into transforming your idea. Then you slowly climb up that hill and you get to interrogation, you get into timeline. How long is this change going to take place? Are we going to get it now or is it going to be 5 years from now? We finally get past that, get some answers, and then we're into the new status quo. A change is going to happen. So probably can't get that graphic out of your mind for a while. How to find change or the process? How are you going to do that as a township officer? Let's say you're going to talk to your officers, your people in your township about graveling, and you just learned that you're not putting enough gravel on the road, and there's not a lot of budget, right? And people don't want to spend money. I know that. I'm a conservative person, very conservative. If I don't have to spend money, I'm not gonna. But if it's for the better, I'm willing. So be willing. Keep that willingness in your mind. People need to understand the need for change. Why? Goal, the end result. How is it going to affect you? Putting the gravel on the road. Is it going to make a difference? Absolutely. Putting more gravel on your roads, and we'll talk a couple of seconds about that, it's going to make your roads safer. And probably less maintenance is going to have to be done going on. So what's the time frame again? How are you going to make these changes? What's your time frame? What do you need? And whose help do you need? Who's going to be the go-to person with this change? Is it your next door neighbor that's going to support you all the way? Or halfway through and says, oh no, this is getting scary. I don't want to do this. Know your people. Know the people that you can go to and be stable with them. So you want to communicate clearly and often. How do you communicate the best? Me? I love email. My world is all about email because I can save it, I can sort it, I can organize it, and I can quickly get back to people. Instead of calling them, they're not going to answer because they don't know my number. So I'm going to go to voicemail, they may check their voicemail, they may not, and the cycle goes on. So email is my best one. How do others communicate? So I know working with the counties, a lot of them are phone calls. They like phone calls because they get them all the time. They're ready to answer their phone. So by email, texting, we do a lot of that. Mail, snail mail, who uses that, right? Well, I do, I send personal cards to people. So don't let it go away, right? It's still good. In person, a meeting like this, you get to talk to the next door person with the townships and find out what they're doing, how they're doing it, what kind of changes they're going through. A phone call and social media. I'll tell you that I am a Facebook junkie. I finally realized that my husband convinced me of that. But I do have 3 Facebook accounts. I have my personal, my work, and then I'm president of Prairie County Farmers Union, so I have that one as well. And I love keeping them up. Some people say that they won't go on because it's all political. I will tell you, don't go on a political page, because they're going to follow you. And you're going to get this link, and you're going to say, well, what's this about? And you're going to click on it, it's going to be linked to another political thing. And then Facebook is thinking, all right, this person has been a political tag, and they'll keep tagging you. Just don't go there. And I never get political stuff. It's all about the Facebook pages that I have. So, just a tip on that. Involve people with that change. Involving the people that are going to support the change. And that's what I said earlier. Get that best person in there, your partnership, have them stand on your side. They will likely bring others on board, right? If they believe in something, they believe in what you're doing with the change, they're going to say, hey, you can share with Tony, come on, look at what we're doing. So, provide support, tools, resources, and information. You think about a baseball team. Could they do what they do without having information from the coach or having the support from their teammates and their parents? They couldn't do it. They need that support, information, and resources. Just keep pushing for that change. What the outcomes are, or they intended to be. Changes. Don't just give direction. You lead to charge. Lead the change. Lead it all the way. Don't start leading and then all of a sudden you say, oh, this is getting to be too much for me. This isn't my area. This isn't my goal. What's going to happen? Everybody else drops off. So keep going. Keep going forward until you get that change done. Lead by example. Talk the talk, walk the walk. You need to carry the message. So, Brian put this on here, and I did have to ask him, why the ham? So, he told me, well, don't you remember when your grandma made ham, she made it a certain way? She cut it a certain way, she baked it a certain way, and maybe put something on top. And now you're doing the same thing, aren't you? How are you making your ham? Yep, you're right. The same way my grandma did it. And so you think about that, and it's like, well, maybe I should put a little glaze on there. Someone else had some glaze on there. It was really good. Try it. You might like it. It's just like change anywhere. Try it. You may like it. So here's the saying again. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. Final thoughts for change. Throw away the labels. Everybody labels changes as this, that, and everything else. Just go with the change. It doesn't need a label. Listen carefully and speak plainly, clearly. Keep it simple so people can understand you, why you want that change. Getting yourself educated. If you say you're going to put another inch of gravel on, people are going to say, why? Why do you want to do that? And you can say, I talked to LTAP and they thought this would be a good idea. They can come and talk to us at our township meeting if you want. Do that. Reach out to your resources. Take it and run. Majority approves. Move forward. Never forget that hope matters. Just keep hoping for that change. It will happen. Have short-term focus and long-term goals. So think about it in long term. How is it going to affect your township? How is it going to affect the county? Know your core values. Why does it mean so much to you, this change? And be willing to admit that, okay, I don't have a lot of knowledge on this stuff, but can you help me find some resources on this? Admit that you don't know everything. Sometimes we feel like we know everything, or people think we know everything, but we don't. We have our weaknesses. Avoid the nitpickers. Do we have them? Absolutely. The naysayers and the know-it-alls. So there's people that will say no to everything because it's not their idea. Avoid creating unnecessary enemies. You don't need those enemies. Ask them to back out. They don't make it be. If you've proven your point, move on with it. Come from a positive approach, always, with your ideas. If you come negative, people are going to continue to think that you're negative. They're not going to go with that change. So, keep positive. Good and bad ideas come from all levels. So you can have the new township member come on to the meeting and says, you know what, that road sucks. We need to do something about it. And the new officers who have been on there 25 years are like, what? What is he saying? What does he know? He just came on. No. He's the lower level, right? But he matters. So give him a chance. Any questions for me? Not going to keep you any longer. But if you do have questions, I do have a table in the back. I have all of our brochures, or the important brochures back there about our program. On the back side of our LTAP brochure is all of our names and contact information. Contact us anytime. I get emails on weekends. I work on weekends sometimes because I get bored if it's snowing out. So come back. I have cloths for giveaway. Take them till they're gone. And I hope that we get in contact with you in the future. If you have township meetings in your county, let me know. Either Brian or I can come out. You pick the topic. We'll talk it. So have a good day, everyone.
Thank you, Denise. We're going to kind of keep this program rolling, so we really don't have a scheduled break. The restrooms are back there. There's coffee, there's cookies. Get up, help yourself. Our next speaker is going to be our NDTOA treasurer, Barb Knudsen, with a couple reminders and requests.
Good morning. It's nice to see the room full. Nice to see familiar faces and new faces. It's really good to see some young ones coming on because we're not going to be here forever. And the new ones got to learn from us a little while we're still around. So it's really good to see. There's a few things that I noticed throughout the years, the phone calls that I get. Notification of annual meetings. See, I've gotten, it's not on top. It says it is. 3011.
After the state meeting is done, there's a soup and sandwich luncheon. Everybody please stay, move through the line, have lunch.
We're wish I had stopped the battery. There's a lot of batteries we use with this. Okay, we'll try it again. How about now? All right. Where was I was talking about the notification of the annual dues. I get calls from people say, I don't know where to send my dues, I don't know how much the dues are. My suggestion to anybody, any county that has an association, that the association would take responsibility for sending that notice out to each of the townships so that they know who to send the dues to, how much it is. And then the association dues stay with the county instead of being sent on to the state. Sometimes I get checks with both the county and the state dues, and then we have to figure that out. The dues are due, they are $200 to the state, and like I said, I don't know what the county ones are. It might be,
25.
Okay. It might be beneficial if I did know that, because I get calls from all over the state about that. If people would let me know, then I wouldn't have to bug somebody and find out what they are. They're due on the 1st of May, delinquent on the 1st of October. It's important that we get it in before the end of the year. The end of our year is the end of October. So if we get them in the right year, get them there before the 1st of October. Counties without associations, I bill those individually, the townships individually, and it's really important that I have the correct addresses and names of the officers that need to get these dues notices. When you do your work after the annual meeting, make sure you fill out the form that has all that information on there. It has the name, the address, and when you do the address, make sure it's their mailing address. Some people have a physical address and a P.O. box, and then if I don't have the correct one, it goes to the wrong place, or it comes back, or anyway, that's a important part of it. Make sure you get that list, updated list with everybody on it, not just the new ones, but the ones that have been there 40 years. Put their information on there too. We've had kind of a turnover in auditors all across the state, so the new auditors don't know all the people that have been there forever. So it's important that the auditors get that. They've really been good sharing their material with us that they receive from the townships, and they can only give us as good as they get. So we need to be diligent about getting that information to the auditors. There's a sheet on the NDTO website that you can, it's a fillable sheet, you can type in that information, print it out, send it to the auditor, and if you want to, you can send it to me. Email it. The other thing that I have heard people having problems with is getting their meetings noticed on time because of the places where they have weekly newspapers. If you're using a weekly newspaper, if you don't get it in there on exactly the right day or before that day, you will be a week late getting your notice out. So then you'll be behind on the notice for your annual meetings. Any questions that you might have for me that I could help you with? If not, thank you all for being here. Thank you for what you do out there in the field. Thanks for being township officers. It's important.
Another introduction that we've got, our District 3 Director, Jason Johnson, is here now. He is standing in the back of the room there. And a thank you to the museum would go out to Sendak, Arthur Companies, and Kelly Sousay with Sousay Sand and Gravel for kind of being our meal sponsor for this program all the time. Next up, we'll have our NDTOA Executive Director, Mr. Larry Syverrson, and he'll bring you the 2026 handbook updates.
Thank you, Dale, and good morning all. Changes to the Officer's Handbook, 2026 edition. The complete list of changes is on page 264 towards the back of the handbook. And should I find any corrections need to be made, there'll be a new subversion put out on the website listed as 2026.1.2, however many times I have to make corrections or additions. Page 1. This is not a change. This is the thank you to the North Dakota Insurance Reserve Fund. Again, they have paid for producing this update. It amounted to 2,500 copies, about 4,000 pounds of paper, and over $20,000 in printing costs. So we get substantial benefit from our insurance company. On page 5, we have some new officers listed. We've all met our new president, Dale Schmitz, Manfred Township, Wells County. Our new vice president is Julie Brandvold of Cameron Township in Ward County. Lee Brandvold has moved into the past president's office. He's on Cameron Township. We have a new District 1 director, Kim Kirshner of Nedrose Township, Ward County. And as Dale has mentioned, we have our new District 3 director, Jason Johnston, Glenwood Township, Walsh County. We have a new District 5 director, Tom Dutton, White Township, Burley County. We also have added a new legal counsel, Jamie Tennyson, from over in the Cooperstown area. Roger Olafson has now retired from the NDTOA board after many years of service. He was our vice president for many years, then president, and lastly, past president before retiring now. District 2 directorship is vacant since Dale ascended to the presidency here, and we've been actively soliciting names to be considered for appointment, and we will very likely make that appointment today. Page 33, Article 5 of the policy. The executive director will post the minutes and audio recordings of all meetings on ndta.com. We've got some better recording equipment we picked up now, and we're making changes to the website to facilitate this addition. Page 34. The important thing here is the amendment on number 3. The awards committee may now award up to 5 grassroots leadership awards each year. So we have a much better chance that if you have someone in your township that has done an outstanding job for years and decades, most likely, by all means, nominate them for the Grassroots Leadership Award. The nomination form is available on ndtoa.com, and we do print it a couple of times in the Grassroots Report. Page 61, recall petitions. We removed that form from the book because it no longer applies to township officers. Township officers are not removed by a recall procedure. They're removed by a special meeting of the township under 58-04-02.2. It does not involve a recall petition process. Page 64 to 68. This is the chapter on doing bonding. Townships can sell bonds to finance large projects. The It's not done very often, but it is a possibility. And here are the statutes that pertain to that. Pages 93 to 95. This is the chapter on the state bonding fund. There were significant changes made here in this last session. The state bonding fund is an insurance against fund loss by officer dishonesty, offered by the state and administered by the North Dakota Insurance Reserve Fund. There is no cost to the township, but you want to be certain that your township's bond is in effect. We have seen a couple of cases where townships lost a large amount into the six figures due to an embezzlement. And in those cases, the bond was not in effect, so that was a total loss for the township. Now we have changes in this last session that township should now be able to get full coverage. The law has always required that the township treasurer be bonded for the full amount in the treasury. But the insurance side of it would only give us coverage for about $10,000. We now have that changed. So you should be able to get full coverage now. There is still no cost to the township. So by all means, make sure your bond is in effect. Page 95, the State Fire and Tornado Fund. There were changes in that chapter. I don't think too many townships actually have their property insured under this fund, but there's some changes in that chapter. Pages 97 to 98, liability of political subdivisions. This is a step up in the liability limit. A few years back, after the Larimore bus accident, in which several people were badly injured, the limit of the liability would not provide those victims enough money for their medical bills. So the legislature saw that they had to increase that limit, and they're doing it in steps, so it wouldn't be a sudden change to the insurance. And this is just another one of the steps as they program that to be increased. Page 101. This chapter was added, we didn't have it before, 37-30 military impact zones. This pertains to areas where you have a military installation. It forms a committee between the military personnel and the authorities in the surrounding area, so they can coordinate development, zoning, and things like that for the area around the bases, so they don't have any conflicts. Page 114, 40-53.107. This is the procedure that a city uses to vacate streets and alleys. Now we got to change so townships and counties can do that too. And this is where that procedure is in the city section. I'll go over that more in Title 58, the township section. Page 122, township on-site inspections. This I'll cover more on this in Title 58 also, but this is the section that deals with open records and open meetings. And I'll go into it more later. Page 123, 44-04-20.1, public comment period requirement. All public bodies are now required to have a public comment period in the agenda of every meeting. You're also required to establish a public comment policy. We have a fillable policy on the website under resources. You just download that form, you fill in your township name and the date on which you adopted this policy. Then you keep it in your records. The importance of this is that people have a right to speak at your meeting. But you have the authority to set limits on that. You can specify at what time during the meeting that they can speak and how long they can speak. And if there are several of them, you can set limits to the total time that you'll allow for comments. Page 135, Highway Tax Distribution Fund. This is the township mileage payments that you've been getting every quarter since about 1986. In the last few years, that has amounted to about $126 to $130 per mile each year. That'll now go up to about 160 or so. A little increase, not big, but at least it's not a loss. Page 173. Estimated property tax and budget hearing notice required. This is the topic that generated about 95% of my phone calls over the last year. Because why do townships need to hold the budget hearing? Well, what happened, the way the law used to be, the notice that had to be sent out had to include the date, time, and location of the public budget hearing for each of the taxing districts in which the property owner's parcel is located, which anticipate levying in excess of $100,000 in the current year, and the location at which the taxing district's budget is available for review. Now they changed it, and that became a shorter version here, because they deleted this line, which anticipate levying in excess of $100,000 in the current year. That was the wording that exempted most, but not all townships from the budget hearing requirement. We do have a number of townships in the state who normally levy, that normally budget over $100,000, so they had to hold those hearings before. Of course, that continues. We have had a lot of discussions with legislators on this matter. We had a bill prepared to be considered in the special session, but the Legislative Management Committee reviewed all proposed bills and decided that this wasn't urgent enough to be included in the special session because they needed to be sure that the special session would get wrapped up in 3 days. But we have very good support for getting this handled in the coming regular session. So we're really hopeful that it will be eliminated in the special session, but the township will have to go through that budget hearing again one more time. And then we hope it goes away. Page 179. County and Township Infrastructure Funds. This is the Prairie Dog payments. They did a number of changes to the Prairie Dog. First of all, they changed it from a basis of equal payments to every township in the state to be paid for maintained miles. And then, as the session went on, and it became apparent that the oil market had gone south on us, and the buckets were not filling as fast, it was very unlikely that we'd even get a payment this time. So they rearranged the buckets that control the flow of funds through that, and moved us up a bit on it, but then in exchange for that, they cut the thing in half. So it didn't really have as much. And then there's a preference for, rather than just giving people so much money, no matter what they're gonna do with it, they would prefer to give it out in grants, where people show the need for something. And that's what they did with half of the Prairie Dog payments. And that did provide funding for 4 township grants. Now, there's other changes in the Prairie Dog and also the Flex Fund direct payments. The township must levy at least 18 mills as of December 31st, 2025. And the township general fund cannot exceed $100,000 on December 31st, 2025. Now, if your township didn't pass those 2 tests, you most likely will not be getting any of these payments this go around. But now, during your annual meetings, you should be making adjustments so you can be sure that you will qualify the next time. Page 185, 187, farming and ranching regulations. This concerns feedlot zoning. The change here is that the township board may alter the feedlot setback based on the order footprint tool, which has now been developed. And on page 188 is Flood Plain Ordinances. The legislature in this last session took away floodplain management authority from townships and gave it to the counties. However, if a township really wants it, they can pass a resolution that they want to have their authority back, and they have to pass a floodplain ordinance. They have to provide that to the county and to the Water Resources Department. The Water Resources Department will forward it to FEMA. FEMA will review it, and if they approve it, then you can get your authority back. You will have to adopt an ordinance and enforce it. That's, you won't let people build in the floodplain and things like that. Page 190. 58-03-20, on-site inspection, exempt meetings. So what is an on-site inspection and why does it matter? Well, 2 or 3 supervisors get in a pickup and check the roads for the annual gravel order. Or a couple of board members meet on a roadside to look at a washed out culvert. Or the township board does a walkthrough in an unincorporated town site within the township to check property conditions. The problem is, 2 supervisors in a pickup is a quorum of the township board. The township board doing an inspection tour through a village is a meeting. And if you have somebody out there in the township that wants to get back at the board for something that may have happened 10 years ago or whatever, all they would have to do is call the Attorney General's office and lodge a complaint against you. And you could be cited for an open meeting violation. And then you get a nasty grant from the Attorney General, and you have to go through some remedial action to make sure you feel sorry for what you did.
And then they all resign and go home.
That might happen. Well, we've been worried about that for some time, and we saw a way to deal with it now in this session. We got a bill sponsored and passed that says a gathering of the members of the Board of Township Supervisors to conduct an on-site inspection under this title is an exempt meeting as defined under section 44-04-17.1 if The township does not have staff available that is capable of making the inspection, or the Board of Township Supervisors is serving as the township officers and the staff of the township. Now, a county has a county engineer. They have a road department, people that go out and check the conditions and report back to the board. We have to go out and get mud on our own boots to do those things. So we got this exemption so that when you're out there, you're mostly acting as an employee rather than an administrator. So that will now be exempt. There is a requirement that if a news medium, such as a local newspaper, has given you a written request for notice, then you would have to tell them when you're going to go out and check your gravel. Maybe they don't want to ride along. Okay, page 190. When the township may maintain or vacate streets in a dissolved city. If a dissolved city is located in an organized township, the township may choose to maintain or vacate under Chapter 40-39 the streets and alleys in the dissolved city. A lot of townships do have these remnants. What used to be a city is now just a couple of houses and maybe a falling down elevator or something like that. And it, you don't see much there, but if you look at a map, you have all kinds of streets and alleys laid out. That land was dedicated to be used as streets and alleys. It's on the title. And if there was an injury on there, some lawyer could bring a case against the township or county because of an injury. You're responsible for it, even though there's no use for it, even though you can't even tell it's there. It looks just like the grass, the field of grass that's next to it. So if the landowner wants this title back, they can pay the fees. It will involve a couple of newspaper notices, and then the township can hold the hearings and that to vacate the streets and alleys and get it cleared off of their liability and give the landowner clear title to it. And that also now applies to counties, because previous to this, only a city could vacate streets and alleys. Counties and townships did not have that power. So we got that taken care of. Page 196, floodplain management ordinances. If a township wishes to regain and retain their floodplain management authority, this is the requirements for the ordinances that can be included for that. And we've added the entire chapter on floodplain management on page 209. Now, as I said earlier, the list of changes is on page 264. The list is more than a page and a half long, and I just covered a few of them here today. But I want to emphasize this one again, the Grassroots Leadership Award, recognizing a township officer for outstanding services. And that form is available on ndqa.com. Are there any questions? Well, then I thank you for being township officers, and thank you for being here today.
Okay, I'm Mark Berkey, and used to be with the North Dakota Insurance Reserve Fund, and when I retired from there, I started doing just a little bit of work with the state township officers, kind of the same type of thing as what I was doing when I was with the insurance reserve fund.